Welcome everyone. This is just a short little tutorial to get your front splits. I know it's very cliche and everyone says that, but I promise I really was asked for this tutorial after I posted an interesting video of mine. So I'm just going to give like a few stretches, some tips and tricks on how to get your front splits. So before we begin, I just want to make a few things very clear. First of all, everybody's body is different. We already know this, but this is something that you really need to keep in mind if you are embarking on a journey like this, because some people are naturally flexible. They can just drop down into their splits. Others may be able to do it after like a week of practice and stretching. But if I'm being very honest, the average person is probably going to take a few months to get their splits. So don't be discouraged if maybe you watch a video that said you're supposed to get it in a week and you're not able to get it. Most people are not built like that. You need to have patience with yourself and just trust the process. And kind of in line with that, one thing you need to keep in mind is consistency beats intensity. We all know this, but for some reason we just keep going against it. Just think of like when you're dyeing your hair. There's only so much you can do. Like it gets to a point where your hair cannot get any deeper or any lighter. Whether you leave the dye in for 60 minutes or 6 hours. It's kind of the same with stretches. So you don't want to, sometimes there's this temptation like when you haven't stretched in a while, you want to kind of make up for lost time, so then you want to stretch like an hour or 2 hours in one day. There's no point. 60 minutes, 6 hours, there's no point. You probably already reached your threshold. And if anything, what you're doing increases your chances of getting hurt. And when you get hurt, you're going to have to take time to heal before you can go back to stretching. And all that does is prolong the journey. So if you took 3 months, 6 months off or whatever, it's fine. Just continue with like your usual routine. So there's no research that gives like a definitive amount of time you should stretch or the frequency either, but I'm just going to go based off the trend that I'm seeing. You really don't need to stretch that much. 2 minutes per muscle per leg, 5 days a week is really all you need, and that amounts to about 30 minutes per week. So that's all you need to do. Just be consistent with that and you'll get your splits eventually. Like that's just the way things are. If you keep doing something, your body has no choice but to learn to do it. So another thing I want to bring up is plateauing in splits. You'll probably run into 2 types of plateau. The first is in your everyday practice. The second is in your long-term practice. So kind of the example of the hair dye that I gave, in your everyday practice, you stretch to a certain point and your body just cannot do any more. At that point, all you need to do is just stop, rest, give your body time to relax and repair. The second kind of plateau is when you've been consistent, you've been doing your 2 minutes a day, 5 days a week and everything, but then it seems like you've gotten to a point where your body just does not want to go any lower. That's very normal. Sometimes you just need a second to, get with the new program. Your body just needs a second to learn everything that's going on. So when that happens, don't panic. All that means is you should probably just take a break for like maybe 2 to 3 weeks. I think people sometimes worry that if they take a break, they will lose a skill, but it doesn't work like that. Sometimes when you take a break, you come back stronger. So if you feel yourself plateauing, that's just what you need to do. Okay, so now let's move on to the splits. So the front splits are made up of flexibility in 2 areas. That is your hip flexors in the leg that is going back, your hip flexor in the leg that's going back, and your hamstrings in the leg that is going forward. So you just need to stretch these 2 muscles. That's what I mean by 2 minutes per muscle per leg. So 2 minutes for your hip flexors on the right, 2 minutes for the hamstrings on the right, 2 minutes for the hip flexors on the left, 2 minutes for the hamstrings on the left. That's all you need to do. Now the most basic stretches, I feel like there's a lot of clickbait videos out there that are like, forget all the other stretches you've been doing. This is the one that's going to get you this. same destination. There's so many stretches out there that you can do. Just pick your favorites and stick to them. You don't even need multiple. Honestly, all you really need is one for your hip flexors, one for your hamstrings. There's no one stretch that's better than the other and all of that. It's really just a game of consistency. If you pick one and you're consistent enough, you will see the results. But I'm going to give you my favorites and what I feel is the easiest. So we're going to start with the hip flexors. Now you want to go into a low lunge. Make sure your hips are facing forward and your back is straight. And then you just want to kind of rest on your hip flexor. Rest on it. And wait out your 2 minutes. So you can break it up. You can do 1 minute, 30 seconds, however you like to do it. Dealer's choice. So, your hip flexors, and I chose these two stretches because I feel like they complement each other really well, because I'm relaxed onto my hip flexor and it's stretching this out, but if I want to switch to my hamstrings, all I have to do is extend my right leg. Now you want to feel it in your hamstrings. You can feel it in other places, your glutes, your back, wherever, but the important thing that you're trying to stretch is your hamstrings. So from hip flexors to hamstrings. Now over here, you can place your hand on the mat to kind of give you some support. If you have blocks or any other thing that can kind of, give you, help secure your balance, that's fine as well. Just keep your back straight, keep your legs straight, feel the burn in your hamstrings. Speaking of burn, you're pushing yourself beyond your limit, so you should feel uncomfortable, but you should not be in excruciating pain. You shouldn't. If you are, you should probably stop, because again, if you get hurt, all that's going to do is prolong your split journey. So we move from our hip flexors to our hamstrings. Hip flexors to hamstrings. 2 minutes, each muscle on each side, 5 days a week. That's really all you need. Another thing you want to try is, as you're doing these stretches, you want to try and actually go into the splits, just to see if you can do it. Not just to see if you can do it, but you want to go into it so that your body knows the outcome that you are trying to achieve. You can also use your blocks to kind of give you a support while you're going into the splits, and then you can also kind of put it underneath you to give you a support if you're not able to go all the way to the floor, and then eventually you can move it. Another thing I want to include is, sometimes there's a temptation to rest on this leg, but if your hip flexors are not touching the ground, you're probably not doing it right. So this is what we want to do, not this. Okay. That's it. Thank you so much if you made it to the end of the video. If you're going to be doing this, please share your progress with me. I always love seeing people progress and find out that they're capable of doing things that they didn't think they could. So share, like, subscribe, and